I'm running out of ways to introduce these videos. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant, welcome back to the Pokémon Trading Card Game! No one's gonna get that reference, but I don't care. Last time, we beat the Fire Club, and today, we're gonna be moving on to the Fighting Club. Gee, I wonder what these guys are weak to. Yeah, we'll get to the Grandmasters fairly soon. Yeah, well, why not? I have an Omastar I don't really plan to use. You're welcome. You're not giving me anything back for you son of a gun. Anyway, we're here in the Fighting Club. Now, the special thing about the Fighting Club is that most of the trainers in here will be in different club lobbies. I think I mentioned this earlier. So when you first start the game and you get here, none of these guys will be here. They'll all be in different places. You need to find them in order to get them to come back here. But I think you can fight them right there and then, so you don't have to look around for them and then follow them back here to fight them. But since we beat them already, they're here now. Anyway, the deck that I have not only centers around Psychic type, but because there are going to be a lot of normal types in here as well, I have some fighting types in here too. So that's why Hitmonchan is here. But the Ghastly family's back, because not only is Psychic strong against most, general fighting types that aren't rock or ground, but they're also resistant to fighting, being ghost types. So I guess we'll get this thing in. I think that's the only thing that you have. I mean, that paralysis isn't worth too much because he wouldn't be able to attack us on the next turn anyway, so it doesn't mean too much. I don't know what you're doing with fire types in your deck, but more power to you. And yes, I have the Abra family in here. Kadabra's only got 60 health, but it can do 50 damage, so it's pretty neat. I guess I'll start powering up Hitmonchan. Because 20 damage is better than 10. He's gonna get 30 damage off on me next turn anyway. Might as well be on something that can take a hit. So now we have Alakazam, that's wonderful. Alakazam has an interesting Pokemon power being damage swap, which is similar to Gengar's Dark Mind, except you're allowed to move damage counters between your own Pokemon, and there's no limit to how many that you move in a turn. And it also has Confuse Ray, which isn't nearly as useful. So I guess we'll power up the other Hitmonchan, because this one's probably going to die at some point. So in preparation for that, as opposed to getting this thing's special punch going, why waste the energy? So bring in the other Hitmonchan, knock this Magmar out, and then see what else you put on the bench to... Just has another Magmar? Okay, that works for me. Let's get Haunter going. That's the only thing with energy, so I'll hang on to that. And we'll see what happens. Oh, he's got a Hitmonlee on his bench. So we got another Haunter. Won't have you attacking me if I can help it. I don't want to waste that. I think we'll be fine without giving Hitmonchan another 2 energy cards. We can live without it. So I also have the Mankey Primate family in here. Mankey's Pokemon power allows you to look at either the top card of either player's deck, a random card from your opponent's hand, or one of either player's prizes once per turn. It's something that's kind of annoying to have to go out of your way to use. It's there if you want it. Like, if I wanted to use it right now, I could. So say if I wanted to check... I don't know, let's say I wanted to look at this prize card. So we'd be getting a Primeape if we drew that prize card. So now I know if I want to take a prize card and I want to evolve my Mankey into a Primeape, I can take that one. But you can only use it once per turn. And it's kind of out of the way to use, but it's there. So what are you trying to power up? No, not transparency. So that one's a Ghastly. Probably not going to need that. Oh, it's Hitmonlee, of course. I don't think that's really much of an issue, but I don't have the... I was going for energy removal, forgetting that I had actually used it. So Scoop Up allows you to take your Pokemon from your active spot or your hand, put it back down onto your bench if you want to. That's not a thing I can allow you to do. I think you require 2 energy cards to retreat. Let's retreat you out. I cannot deal with this guy here. Go to sleep, please. Now, unfortunately, Stretch Kick is not subjected to transparency, in that unless it's used to attack me directly, you won't be able to... It won't be able to stop the effect of Stretch Kick. Bring that Hitmonlee back in here. Where do you think you're going? So since Stretch Kick, if used on a Pokemon on the bench who isn't Haunter, doesn't directly affect Haunter, do you want to stop retreating out? That's kind of getting on my nerves right now. I mean, I don't even know why you have that electric energy on him in the first place. It serves you no use whatsoever. Bring that Hitmonlee back in here. Stretch Kick wouldn't... Transparency wouldn't stop Stretch Kick from hitting something on the bench, is what I'm saying. Kind of surprised I haven't drawn a single Abra yet. Drawn a crap ton of Psychic Energy and a lot of Psychic Pokemon, but no one to use them on. And you did put an energy on Electabuzz. Let's not have that. So it's a bit unfortunate I don't have anything dealing more damage than Haunter. And Haunter is not supposed to be the damage dealer. So things may be going a little bit slow in the first match like they did in the last video, which is also unfortunate that it's happening again. 2 videos in a row starting off with a really, really slow and boring fight. But that's how it goes sometimes. Some go really, really fast, some go really, really slow. It all depends on what you're able to draw. But again, it's all your fault if you don't draw the cards that you want anyway. So I guess we'll get another Haunter going, because why not? It's there. Really wanted to show off Abra. I'm sure it'll come up at some point, and I have... Actually, I think I only have 3 of them in this deck, because I only have 1 Alakazam. One thing I believe I've neglected to mention up until this point is why I have more basic Pokemon than I have of their evolutions. It doesn't really make a difference if you draw your evolution card if you don't have the basic Pokemon that it evolves from. So I don't exactly make it a priority to have a bunch more, or even an even amount of the evolved Pokemon. Unless you have enough of the basic Pokemon that you can reliably evolve it at some point. There's the Abra. I really only have it in here so it can evolve. But we may not really get to see it, because the game's finally over. So you can see I eventually stopped using Mankey's Peak because I really don't care about it all that much. And it's kind of annoying to use, like have to menu through all of the options in order to get to it every time. So I try not to do it all that often. But of course, in real life, if you have Mankey's Peak ability, it's not as much of a chore to use. So make as good use of it as you can. So I'll lead off with Ghastly again because it has free retreat and resists fighting, so if I don't get the first turn, hopefully he can't do much to me. But the reason why I have fighting types in here is because a lot of these guys have normal types, which are resistant to Psychic. So if I didn't have a fighting type, these would be really, really, really annoying fights. But again, it's also why you have more than one Pokemon type in your deck, generally. So if you know your Pokemon have a glaring weakness, you can bring something that counters it. Hopefully we don't get paralyzed another 6 times in a row. That wasn't fun. I don't know if it was 6 times in a row. It certainly felt like it. Do I want to use this quite yet? Probably not. I put an energy on Ghastly, didn't I? Probably should have put it on Hitmonchan. Oh well. I'm afraid that the next opportunity I have to attack won't come because I really will be paralyzed that many times in a row. Let's hang on to that. I think he's been attacking me with an attack that only requires 1 energy, so there's no reason to use that. So I guess we'll hold off. Hopefully he doesn't paralyze us this time. Good! So now I can get a Special Punch off, knock this thing out. We only have 40 health left, but I don't think he has anything that'll do us enough damage to warrant being afraid. Yeah, Machop will do 20 damage, so let's not do that. I don't think I can use either of those. So let's hold on to this hand now, just because of the Gust of Wind. That's what I was afraid of. So Hitmonchan's going to get knocked out. I have nothing to use that fighting energy on. Let's get something in here that we can kill really quick. And see what we can draw with Professor Oak. Energy removal. Sure, that might increase our survivability a bit. We have some energy to add. I guess we can put one on Ghastly. So I guess while there's not too much else going on, I can talk about one of the reasons why this game means as much to me as it does. And I guess it should be kind of obvious that when I was a kid, I played this game a lot. Not just the video game, but actually played the cards in real life, collecting all the booster packs, seeing how many cards you could get. And even now, I think we still have a bunch of cards. My little brother really loved collecting the cards, well beyond when I thought he would have stopped. And I'm sure he has a collection around somewhere. But we would play this game all the time as a kid. Our father would take us to, like, Toys R Us had these little get-togethers for people who were playing with their Pokemon cards every Saturday. And we would always go to those. Those were a blast to do every morning. I'm sure he wasn't very happy having to drive us there all the time, and I can't believe I don't have any fighting types. That's not good. I can't do anything to this Persian. I can try paralyzing it, but it's not going to do any damage. But we'd always go to Toys R Us every Saturday morning to play Pokemon. We'd collect badges and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I don't know how many other people did that. The only person I ever remember hearing even mention something like that is Anthony in one of his videos. So I don't know how many other people actually did that, or if it was just me. Well, I'm sure it wasn't just me because there were other people there, but you get the point. Now the thing about Alakazam is, yes, I could evolve it, it would have more health, it would have the additional Pokemon power, but at the same time, Kadabra's attack does 50, and Alakazam's would only do 30. So subtract 30 from both of those when you factor in resistance, Alakazam wouldn't be doing any damage. And my opponent only has Hitmonlee. That would be great, but I don't have a Gust of Wind to bring it in. And this Persian I saw just did 30 damage. And if the defending Pokemon attacks on the next turn, damage is reduced by 10. So we would only be doing 10 damage with that attack. That's awful. I feel like it's in my best interest to just stall for time. Go for Paralysis until we get a fighting type. Because there's really not much we can do otherwise. I mean, at least with a Gust of Wind I could work with it. But this is the reason why I have fighting types in this deck. Specifically for this situation. So... how many energy does Primeape need? Is it 2? You do need 2, that's a shame. I'm not sure what I should be doing here. Guess we'll look at the opponent's hand. Can we look at the hand? You have a plus power. Okay. So what options does that leave us with? I guess we'll go for the Paralysis again. Hope we get energy to power up Mankey, so when it evolves into a Primeape we can use it. Or we can get a Gust of Wind, but even that's only just going to buy us some time. That's going to knock out the Ghastly. And all it needs is one more knockout, and he has the game. So we're in trouble. You do need a fighting energy to do anything. Let's get... let me check your thing again. I rarely ever use Primeape, so I know this is for 3 flips. Tantrum. Yeah, let's get that energy on you. I don't know what else I should be doing at this point. The only real damage I could be doing is either 20 damage with Kadabra, who would be knocked out in 2 turns, or 10 damage through Alakazam's... no, but Confuse Ray is... you know what, let's go for Confuse Rays. It is 3 to retreat. So the Pokemon power is damage swap. It lets you move damage between your Pokemon, but since we don't have any damage, we can't use it. Could be in big trouble. Haunter's not going to do me any good. It would really only be good for stalling for time if I have to get this thing out of the active spot. So if it hits me on the next turn, I can switch into Haunter and it has less of a chance of actually doing damage to me. But what I can do... oh, I can't bring in Primeape. Well, that took long enough. Some of these fights can be a real struggle, let me tell you. You can plan for them as well as you want, but if you don't get the cards that you need, it's just not going to work. So I always like Jessica's profile picture here. She's really into what she's doing. No one else really seems to care. This is the worst. Mankey with nothing but psychic energy. This is the worst. If I don't draw another basic, I'm sunk. Holy hell, this is possibly the worst start I've had in a long, long time. I think Mankey retreats for free, though. It does, awesome. That could have gone very, very poorly, very, very quickly. Good lord. At least Ghastly is resistant to Psychic, but Normal is resistant to Psychic. Well, this is working. I probably shouldn't have attached that to Mankey. I did attach it to Mankey. Damn it. I should not have done that. I should have evolved into Haunter, gone for the sleep. Well, I'm still going to evolve into Haunter anyway. There really isn't a reason not to do that. Let's just pray it doesn't hit me. Go for the transparency flip. And then let's get... Actually... You know what? Primeape would be the guaranteed... No, Hitmonchan would be the guaranteed kill. Let's do that. I don't trust my coin flip luck. Thing is, I can't retreat this thing out anytime soon. And he does have Tauros, so I don't want this thing to die. Let's get the energy on Haunter at least. Because I know I'm going to want to use that thing to attack. And at least I have... Darn it, Machop! Darn it, Machop! Fine. Play your game. Gonna retreat to Tauros. This thing could potentially kill us. It won't. And we avoid all damage anyway. Fighting energy? Nice. Perfect. Exactly what we needed. Let's go... You know what? Let's bring in Primeape. Just need 2 coin flips. Nice. So we're back to this again. But we don't necessarily need a fighting type immediately. What is your retreat cost? It is 1? I could live with that. Yeah, as long as I have a fighting energy, I can live with that. And all you have are fighting types, so I'll just keep Haunter out here. I don't want to take a risk losing Primeape, because both Primeape and Hitmonchan have a lot of damage. And if he starts bringing out his normal types again, I keep saying he, it's Jessica. We could be in trouble. So let's get a removal from... I guess. It wasn't necessarily going to be much of a threat. Just feel like being a jerk today. Haven't been going through the best fights in a while. Not feeling so hot. Don't feel like giving the enemy any unnecessary advantages. Got another Haunter, but nobody to evolve. I think I'll hang on to the fighting energy, depending on whether or not I need Primeape or Hitmonchan moving forward, just in case she brings in a normal type again. So one thing a lot of the decks in this game are fairly decent about is making sure that you can't just go with a single type and run train through even one person's deck. They'll always try to have a counter for the easiest thing for them to be hit with. So you need to make sure you come prepared for that. Now unfortunately this Doduo is resistant to fighting, as you would expect being a flying type, and I haven't gotten a Gust of Wind yet. So things will be a little bit more tricky. I still don't want to use these. No, I don't. So since we don't have our Kadabra or Gengar, we can't necessarily do any heavy hitting with the Psychic side. Kind of surprising we haven't seen either of those yet. I mean, I only have combined 3 of them in this deck, so it's not that much of a surprise. But it'd be nice to see one before the end of the club. I mean, I think you've seen both of them already. But it still would be nice to have. At least if I got a Gengar, I would have made it. Well, I think that should be game. So I can do 50 damage with Super Psy. Yes, that is actually what it's called. So with that, all 3 fighting members down. Last up is the club leader, Mitch. You look very happy. Very happy. So we start off with a Mankey and an Abra. I don't think Abra has... I do have a free retreat cost, okay. Let's put him out then. The thing is, both of the Pokemon we start with have only 30 health. But at least Abra's resistant to fighting. So let's get... You know what? Let's get you in here. See, the nice thing is, all of the Pokemon in my bench right now have free retreat costs, so I can switch between them as many times as I like. Mankey, this Ghastly, and Abra all have free retreat, which is super, super nice. Now again, the thing about this Hitmonlee is it does have Stretch Kick, so if we had allowed it to, which we're intentionally not doing, get a Stretch Kick off, it would have been able to start attacking things on my bench that only have 30 health, which is not fun. Well, not fun for me. And that's why I wanted to put a stop to it, just in case that sleep didn't go through. So even though we won't be able to knock it out next turn, at least we are assured that he can't do anything to us next turn. He has the Defender, which ups his defense by 20. He's powering up Mankey and Machop, both of which you've already seen. Since I've used both of them already. That's the second time I've done a weakness hit for 0 damage. Don't see that very often. But our hand is completely empty now. If we had a Professor Oak on the next draw, then we get to just draw a new hand for free. That'd be nice. Not very likely, but it'd be nice. Watch my prize card be Professor Oak. Nope. So Mitch, I believe, might also have some normal types in his deck as well. I don't recall. And there's no need for me to put another Mankey on the bench. I don't even know what I want to do with this Psychic Energy. I'd probably want to put it on Abra if we get a Kadabra going. But since the Ghastly family is resistant to fighting, if all this guy has is fighting types, he can't do much of anything. And all of them, I believe, are weak to Psychic because they're your traditional fighting. They're not rock or ground. So they're all weak to Psychic. And since Ghost type was condensed into the Psychic type in the card game, we're good to go. It's just gonna take a little while. So I don't remember exactly what cards I still have. I do remember a lot of the cards that I enjoyed using as a child we should still have, I imagine. Like, my favorite card was the Charizard, because it did so much damage, even if it wasn't all that useful, because you don't necessarily need to do 100 damage in most situations. But it was kind of there if you needed it. And Charizard was my favorite Pokemon because it was my first Pokemon. So I had a real soft spot for that. I'm afraid to put more energy on either of these. So So there was that one. I remember there was a Raichu from a later expansion that I really enjoyed using as well. Of course, Blastoise for the Rain Dance. Loved Venusaur for the Energy Trans, which we didn't actually get to see it use. I also enjoyed using Alakazam to help maneuver damage counters around, just because I thought it was a cool Pokemon power to have. I never made decent use of it. And in the last club we go through, you'll probably see it be used fairly well. For better or worse. Trying to think if there were any other cards that I really enjoyed using when I was younger. We had so many cards. I don't know how much money we wound up wasting on the card game. But it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if any of you have gone through something similar. I actually wondered if it would be worthwhile to go through... I don't even know where to start with them, honestly. But to go through... See, that's the reason why I was afraid to start putting Psychic Energies on, because he could just start stretch-kicking things. If it would be a good idea for me to find where all of my old Pokemon cards were, and instead of showing off the in-game decks, I would just lay them all out on a table or something in real life and show you what the actual cards look like, what the actual decks were. So that would have been neat. Do I necessarily need to do a Gust of Wind? If your Hitmonlee would stop, maybe? I really wish I had something that could do better damage. I hate relying on Haunter for damage. And I hate seeing this thing wake up every turn. It's a 50% chance and you've nailed it every time. Oh, you are so dead next turn, it's not funny. Guess I could put... Hitmonlee, why not? Replace the one that I just destroyed. Plant a tree for every tree I knock down. Oh hey, it's another Hitmonlee! I'm still not getting my... I swear I put Gengar in this deck. I don't know where the hell it is. So let's evolve that Ghastly so you can't keep doing that. I don't know if I even want to waste this. I kind of just want to keep your Hitmonlee at bay. Because now his first target for Stretch Kick is Haunter, and Transparency still applies when it's on the bench. So if he goes to Stretch Kick a Haunter on the bench, Transparency still applies for that Haunter. Can I get something that does better damage? No. Really? That's unfortunate. Watch me draw a Kadabra, a Gengar, and an Alakazam on the next 2 turns when I don't need it. It's really upsetting I haven't actually gotten to... I mean, I did get to use Alakazam, but not really. I didn't get to show off with it what I wanted to. That's okay, though. I'm never gonna get the cards I need, am I? I only have 1 Fighting Energy, too. But I still have some of the old decks that I used to use assembled somewhere in a card case or something. I just wouldn't know where to begin looking for it. Watch me flip a tails. Oh, good. We're resistant to fighting anyway, so it wouldn't have killed us. So if we can put this thing to sleep and he can't switch it out, we may have a victory on our hands. I don't know. Or if we don't and he switches it out, we can switch into Hitmonlee and stretch kick the thing for the win. Because that thing does have free retreat. He'll probably retreat it out. Or... Actually, Defender would still count when he's on the bench too, wouldn't it? I guess we'd have to hold off on it. Yeah, this doesn't really change anything, it just makes it take one turn longer. Yeah, that should seal it. You know what, just for style points, let's bring the Primeape out, let's bring in Hitmonlee, and then Stretch Kick for the win. Have to do that at least once. Ooh, Ditto. So that's gonna do it for the Fighting Club. There's only one club left. This UniversalGiant. If you've ever played this game before, you know how much trouble that club's gonna be. May have a 45-minute video on our hands. See you next time.